Hello, everyone, and welcome to the press conference for round 10 of the 2023 season of Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship. My name is Dan Hubbard. I'll be hosting the press conference right now, and forgive me for my voice. I was yelling for these three gentlemen and Aaron Plessinger, so I'll do my best to get through it, as many of you were. We have the press here. I want to start with the podium right here. Chase Sexton takes the win. Cooper Webb in second. Eli Tomac in third. Chase, we'll start with you. Huge win. We've talked about it on Race Day Live, on the podcast, having trouble kind of late in the races with some mistakes you've been making. From my angle, it looked flawless. Anything you've changed, or have you turned a corner here in your career, especially this year with that win?
For me, I just went to the work this week. I did pretty much all motos instead of any sprints, and just really focusing on the main event is my biggest thing. So tonight, being in the back at the start, I think helped me really kind of lock in and focus on just pushing forward and not worrying about the race. So like I said, I started in the back and made a lot of passes. So overall, just very the best riding I've done in a main in a while. And unfortunately for Aaron, I've been in that position a lot of times. So I feel for him. And I was just trying to click off as many laps and get as close as I possibly could. And he ended up obviously going down, which is a bummer. But for me, I rode super solid, and I was really happy with how it went down. So yeah, not a good start. And just clicked off my laps, and that's really what's key.
Well, after that start, it looked flawless to us, so well done, Chase Sexton. Good job. We're going to open up the press right here. We'll start with you.
With the seemingly shorter laps out there, was that something that was a little bit more difficult for any of you guys, or was that something that you kind of thrived on? If anyone wanted to answer.
Short?
Time-wise, running 50-second laps in a 20-minute main and going through so many laps, was that it didn't seem like you guys had any place to relax. Is that what it was out there?
Yeah, I mean, this definitely was, for us, for football layout, actually pretty long for us in the 50s. But it was a tough track tonight for sure. It was breaking down like crazy. And, yeah, I guess, normal laps, I'd say.
Cool. Jason Wygant.
I'll go to Eli. It looked like there was maybe 2 or 3 bad laps, and then the rest of the race was pretty good. How did it unfold for you there?
Yeah, it was like decent position early on, and then obviously was not smart to go outside in the 9-degree turn for the on-off. I thought it was fine, and obviously didn't end up working out, and then kind of sat there behind Cooper and Barsha, and then. Yeah, I just lost touch a little bit. I don't know. I made one mistake behind Wilson at one point, and had a little gap there, and kind of just rode around. And honestly, I'm lucky to be sitting here. So overall, I feel better than last week body wise. Not quite 100, but not too bad.
Jim Kimball, Motocross Action. First question for Cooper: how much was tonight? Was it a strategic race? Meaning, were you looking at your pit board a lot and stuff? Because you were constantly battling somebody, it seems like.
I mean, I guess all my races I try to be, but there's a lot of battles going on for sure. Aaron pulled the whole shot and was gone, but, AC was there in the mix at first, and I feel like, with me, Eli, and I think it was Bam originally, we had a good pace, and there was a train of us going, and Eli got around me, and then, I just tried to lock onto him. But it was tough, I think there was some lines that were better, but you left the door open, and then the whoops were super tough to get right every lap. So, yeah, I mean, you definitely want to be strategic. And, yeah, like I said, there was a train with Chase, JB, Kenny, Eli, all of us, and then Chase got around all of us, and then, we kind of had to roll the jump, and he got a gap, and from there on, I felt like, he rode well, and we were kind of going back and forth, and ended up being a good points night for sure.
And then, Chase, congratulations on your win again. I haven't seen the points, but you have to have moved closer to the two guys next to you.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what they're going to do with the double in the middle of that race. But for me, momentum-wise and riding-wise, this is big for me. And I've had a few tough races, and especially after last weekend going down and getting 10th, I needed this. And how I did it, I feel like that's what I needed. So for me, just getting momentum back on my side and hopefully we can click a few of these things off coming up here soon.
Michael Lindsay.
I'm Mike Lindsay from Bottlenecks. First question is for Chase. Chase, you actually touched on it about the red flag or red cross flag situation. Everybody kind of around you, you all rolled the first double. I think you were the only one that jumped the second one kind of right after you guys passed Dean. Have you been alerted about anything about that yet, or were you and the team just discussing it before you came up for a press conference?
Yeah, just discussing it. For me, in my position, Dean was up and riding, and I rolled the first jump where he was down, so I was honestly just confused on what I should do, if I should jump, if I should roll. I didn't really know what to do, just because he was already on his bike and it wasn't even on that jump. So I guess we'll see. But besides for that, it's up to in their hands now.
And then the battle with Justin Barsha, the kind of got fairly aggressive towards the end of the whoops. The next couple sections, you hugged really tight on the inside. Were you nervous at all that battle was going to end with someone on the ground? Did you kind of have that feeling after the contact at the end of the whoops?
Yeah, I cut under him. I got next to him in the whoops and kind of got past him, and then I knew that 90, I'm not getting through that if I stay in the gas. So I cut back and cut under him a little bit, ran him a little bit wide in the next corner, but didn't make any contact, and then just tried to shut the door in the next turn, which I did, and then got through that section. And then after the double, he hit me pretty hard. So I was happy that I stayed up and kept my position, but he races hard, and we all know that, so that's something you have to expect.
Congrats on the win. One question for Eli Tomac. Eli, you did mention before the race to most of media kind of about what your next situation was. You also had touched on the fact that the Indy track kind of exacerbated the issue with the G-outs and everything. How much did Detroit help kind of mask maybe some of the lingering effects? Was track a big positive, or did you make that big of a recovery this week?
Yeah, it was both, to be honest. But Indy was just miserable. So this week, though, it was much better being hard packed. But just got to go with it.
Thank you both.
Grace.
Thank you, Grace Elving of Speed Sport. This one is actually to all three of you. You guys were all kind of tied up in like a almost 4-wide battle early in the race there. So just kind of, if you guys could walk me through just what changes in technique from, battling just one guy to battling like 3 guys at a time, just kind of what do you focus on first? If we could go Cooper, Chase, and Eli.
Yeah, it's tough when it's us 3 and then 51 in there is tough. Like Chase said, he races hard, so you got to watch your insides a little bit more. And then, like I said, there was lines that, if you went inside to protect, they may be a little slower. And, but yeah, it was kind of crazy. All 4 of us were right there. The track was super tight, not many places to really gain a bunch of time. So I think it was kind of just who would not make the mistakes. And we were all kind of flip-flopping around, and it was pretty wild.
Yeah, it obviously, like I said, I didn't get a very good start, but I saw where Coop and Eli were, and we all raced each other really fair. So racing these guys is fun. Obviously, when you have Justin, it gets a little interesting. But like I said, he races hard, and it's just something you just got to make your passes in the right spot. And for me, I had a few spots in the track with the whoops in that one rhythm section where I could gain time and get to the inside. So those are really my key passing points tonight.
Yeah, with the way the track was, it didn't allow for much separation, especially early on. Like, we were all so close, so there was just a crazy fast pace at the beginning of that race. So it was tough, no matter where you were.
And then one quick follow-up for Cooper. Obviously, you brought the red plate into this race, and you'll carry it to the next one. Does that mentally settle you at all, just having the points lead, even if it is just 3 points over Eli?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's always the goal, is to have that and to carry it as long as you can. And, everyone's different, but I definitely feel like it's a better position to be in instead of chasing. So, obviously, it's still tight. We're all really not separated by much, but it is a good feeling to know that you're out front. But anything can happen, but we'll try our hardest to keep it going and try to manage the championship the best we can.
Thank you, guys.
Jamie Guida.
Jamie Vital MX. Cooper, early on, Eli got you in the whoops, and then a lap or two later, I can't remember exactly when you jumped up on that table, went back by. It kind of seemed like you figured things out in that time period. Maybe you were a little off in the beginning. Did anything change, or was it just the early moments of the race?
Not much changed, to be honest. I think, like Eli said, there was just fast laps at the beginning, and I was way right in the whoops, and then I saw these guys were kind of going down the middle, and I dialed in that line a little bit better, and that was kind of helping me. But yeah, that section was tough. It was really you would get a good run one lap, and then one lap you wouldn't, and I could tell, the guys behind me would catch me in some areas, but you don't really know where. And then once I was behind Eli, I just kind of felt like I was in a good groove. I learned some of his lines, and then I had some that were a little bit better. So, it's tough when you're out front and you're kind of guessing where they're catching you versus being able to tuck in. But this track was also, hard to pass. So, yeah, when Chase got around, he had some good lines and some good laps.
And Chase, you kind of touched on it a minute ago, but you were very emotional, very excited about this win. Was this win more important than any of the so far this season, just because of how the last couple of weeks have gone?
Definitely. Like I said, it's been a bit of a rough, last 5 races. I've obviously been on the podium a lot, but I haven't won a race since NIM2, and that's where I expect myself to be. So being down last weekend, it was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, I got to change something, and what I'm doing is not working. So this week, like I said, I did a lot of just longer motos and tried to limit the mistakes in practice, and hopefully that carried over the race, and it did. So like I said, I was very emotional, but it's been a tough couple of races. So kind of let it out after the finish line, and it's a good feeling to win a race, especially with how stacked the class is. It's not easy. So got to cherish the wins and keep moving forward.
Thanks, guys.
Don Maeda.
Eli, during the race, you moved up as high as second, and then I think as far back as 5th or 6th. Was there ever a point when you settled in just to do damage control, or did you keep trying the whole time? And how, 100% is your neck back to normal?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what happened, but I obviously got passed by Cooper when I went outside on the on-off, and then it was up the Dragon back. I don't know what lap it was. It was sometime just after that, but then that's when Justin got by me too. Maybe it was all at the same time. I don't totally remember, but that was bad. And then I just was stuck behind him because we were all pretty close in pace, and I wasn't able to make those moves. I wasn't able to make another pass. So, and then obviously Chase came through. But overall, my neck didn't really affect me at all tonight. So that was a good thing, because I was honestly last week it really just came out of nowhere, and I'm like, what is happening? So it's good it's gotten better, though.
Was it just you slept funny thing?
I mean, it literally was. I woke up Friday morning, and I could barely turn my head to the right, so I don't know what it was. All I know is my muscle was locked up, and then it was bad for Saturday, but I think I've talked about it enough at this point.
All right, Weege.
Aaron Plessinger had a great lead tonight, and he ended up going down. I'll just go to you on that, Chase. Was there something about that corner? Was that tricky, that section? He said he was sitting down the whole time, and then he stood up, and that's what caught his foot. Was that corner tricky, the right before the table?
It wasn't super bad. It almost reminded me of exactly what I did last week. Obviously, he caught a foot and ripped him off the bike, but it's the same section just going the other way, or it's a right-hand turn instead of a left. So I honestly thought he drug foot peg, like kind of what I did. But I saw the replay, and he just folded into the next jump, which was pretty bad. So, like I said, that's a bummer. These tracks get so broken down, and they can bite you at any moment, and that's you got to be locked in the whole time. I've found that out plenty of times. So, it's like I said, bummer for him, and hope he's okay.
Is it crazy how racing works sometimes? That's the exact way you've lost some, and then you end up winning one the exact same way.
Yeah, it seems a little bit ironic. Obviously, not the way that you want to win, but I feel like I was closing the gap. Maybe wasn't going to get to him, but I was just happy with solid riding tonight, honestly.
David Iser.
Thanks, Dan. Chase, this is for you. You've had a lot of adversity, but you've stayed positive throughout. Have you learned a lot of lessons about yourself and resilience this year?
Definitely. There's been some dark times. Like I said, I haven't been getting horrible results besides for last weekend. I mean, I've been on the podium most of the races. But when you want to win and you keep making these little mistakes that are avoiding you from winning, it's tough because I feel like I was beating myself most of the time. So it's hard. It's definitely it's frustrating, like I said. But you have to keep grinding and staying positive. Like I said, was the only way that I can pull myself out of it. And it's still an ongoing battle. We're not perfect by any means at this point. Just got to keep getting better and focusing on my weak points.
All right, and Eli, momentum is everything in racing. Are you just dismissing the last 2 weeks because of the neck and that you're on to Seattle and that's in the past?
Yeah, that's my mindset at this point. So honestly, I felt like last week I should have even lost more points. So, just with what happened with the two guys next to me. So overall, could have been worse, could have been better. But, I'm not too concerned at this point.
All right, thanks. And Coop, they made some track changes between the heat races, practice, and stuff throughout the night. Do you like when they do that, when they kind of groom the track, make those changes throughout the night because of rider input?
It's definitely difficult, when you kind of chase setup throughout the day and it changes throughout practice. And then, it is kind of strange. Sometimes it depends, I guess, most of the time on TV, how much time they have to actually prep the track. So, the certain areas they get, it seemed tonight maybe a little more prep than maybe some of the weeks. But like you said, you get that where some nights they have 15 minutes, some they have 5. So it was definitely, those first few laps where you could really get after it, a lot of smooth, fast areas. But then it did end up breaking down pretty good by the end of it. So it's one of those things. You never know what you're going to get.
All right, thanks, guys.
Dan Beaver.
Kind of a variation on Grace's question, and for all three of you guys. Ultimately, you got a 1-2-3 finish, I think, for the 5th time this year. But this may be the first time that you guys have battled as intensely through the middle stages. Was there anything to learn in that battle that you're going to take through to the final races? And can each of you discuss what that battle was like with the championship contenders?
It was, like I said, we were all going at it pretty good, and it definitely, we had a train going, and then it kind of, like I said, Chase ended up passing us all, and then he was able to kind of get a gap from, in my opinion, us kind of rolling, and he was able to keep that gap. And me and Eli were then battling with me and him and Barsha, so it was definitely tough, a lot of tight racing. And I'm happy with how things are going. And, I think we're going to keep battling hard the rest of the season.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough battle, especially me being in the back behind all of these two. So I knew I had my work cut out for me, and I had to be in front of those guys at the end of the race. So just try to take a lap at a time and get by each guy cleanly and not make too many mistakes, obviously. So it was just, like I said, having those key parts on the track where I felt like I was faster and utilizing them when I needed to.
Well, one thing I learned with battling during that moto was don't leave the inside open.
All right, Ryan from Cycle News.
Thanks. Yeah, my question's for Chase. Chase, can you kind of take me through what your game plan was before Aaron fell? You were obviously on the move, but what were you thinking up until the point where he fell?
I was just trying to really keep pushing because, like I've said before, I've been in that position so many times where you feel like, at least in my position, I had the race won, and it can go south really fast, especially when you're haven't won a race like Aaron. It weighs on you the last couple laps, and stuff like that just seems to happen, especially, like I said, to me. So I just kept my head down, and anything can happen, especially with lap traffic. It's not easy, and with how gnarly the whoops were, it's just easy to make mistakes. So I wasn't going to give up, and I guess that's really just the key.
Jonathan McCready.
Jonathan McCready, GetDrop.com. First question for Eli. Eli, most of your championships is usually you and one other guy. This time it's Chase and Cooper. With Cooper being so good at the end of the race and Chase being a bit like Jeremy McGrath at the start of the race, just checking out if he gets a start, it doesn't leave you a lot of margin for error. Do you think about their strengths and weaknesses during the week, or do you just focus on yourself? And how has it been for you fighting two guys for the championship this year?
Well, to me, it doesn't really matter whether it's one guy or two. It's just you're still in a tight race, and you just got to focus on you. So, yeah, you're just battling, doing what you can. So, not much difference between one and two guys.
Thank you. And for Cooper, you mentioned you were managing the race there, Cooper. Did you prioritize staying ahead of Eli at one point once Chase got that gap? Or what was your thought process at that point to keep the red plate?
Yeah, I mean, it was priority to definitely stay ahead of Eli. That was the big thing. But yeah, it was, like I said, in my head, I thought the rule was a little different. So I was just clicking my laps. But at the end of the day, it was a great race and did what I needed to do for sure moving forward.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, Dave Iser, do you have your hand up still, or you have a follow-up? You're good to go. All right, cool, bud. Okay, anyone else out there? I think we are covered for the 450s. Any other questions in the house or online? We are good. Gentlemen, thank you for some incredible racing tonight. That was amazing. Appreciate you. All dressed up. All right. Get your dress code on. I didn't recognize you. All right. Should we get the 250 podium up? Yeah. It is time for the 250 podium here for round 10. Let's get up Hunter Lawrence, Nate Thrasher, and Hayden Deegan. Yes, indeed. Brian Deegan will be available for questions after the press conference is done. So stick around for that. All right. Excellent job again by all three of you out there. Some brilliant racing out here. I'll start real quick with Hunter Lawrence. Hunter, we mentioned with that race, you tied your brother Jet for 10 races, I believe, in just as many races. Not necessarily against Jet or anything like that, but how great does it feel to really be considered possibly, if you decide to go all the way, one of the greatest 250 racers out there? I mean, we're already talking about it, bud. Does that feel good? It's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a big title. I think. I mean, I haven't won a championship yet, so I think it's a little. I don't think you can say that yet. Yeah, I don't think you can say that yet. Jet's, touch wood, on his way to his second title, and there's a lot of past guys that have won 2 championships in the 250 class. So, personally, don't think I've earned my spot on that title yet.
Right.
Just
just being real, honestly. You know, there's been a bit disrespectful to the other guys that have won
My
two
bad.
titles already. You know?
We were talking about Race Day Live and look at the numbers stacking up and tying Jet. It was just kind of a conversation that came up on the show, so I want to get your opinion. But let's get into the real press out here and get to the real questions. Jason Wygant, do you have a question out here for these guys?
Yeah, Hunter, you're tied. Oh, you already did that. Okay, we're good. We're good. Yeah.
That's it, right?
How'd your race go? I mean, it looked flawless again. Was it actually like that riding, or were there tricky parts that we didn't see?
Yeah, it's tough. One thing that kind of stood out to me the most was lappers. You can't pick what race track the lappers are going to be tough on, because I feel like the lappers last weekend were a little easier to navigate. I shut it down a lot coming into the whoops because there'd just be two guys everywhere, and I was just like, nope, not taking the risk. I don't know where they're going. I don't know how many whoops in they're going to get, and then just exit stage left. But yeah, that was kind of probably the most tricky thing, I'd say, this weekend.
If you're checking up before the whoops were pretty tricky as they were. Were you worried when you change your entrance speed that it's going to lead to a problem further down in the section?
Yeah, that, and the fact that you're constantly changing your line. You know, normally when the whoops are really tough, consistency is the key, you know, so you always try to get a line that you feel comfortable and then just kind of stay there for the main, you know, in a perfect world. But, you couldn't do that tonight, and you're constantly adapting and adjusting, and then you're like, you just don't know what the other guys are going to do. You don't know, because they're so edgy and stuff, you don't know where they're going to get kicked. So it's fun.
All right, Michael Lindsay.
Mike Lindsay, Valamex. Question is for Hayden Deegan. Congrats again on your second career podium. However, of course, going back to the storyline of the night is kind of you and Jordan in the heat race. Can you walk us through from your perspective, and at the end of it, being able to review and look back on it, does it still just fall as a racing incident for you, or?
Yeah, man, I don't even know what happened. I wasn't paying attention really. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, it was good. It was good racing, you know. It's fun. So I don't know. Yeah, I just had some fun doing it.
Did afterwards, you know, get back to the hauler? Have you guys discussed it at all internally from a team standpoint? And was there anything from management that they pointed out, or was it pretty much, you know, have you guys even gone to that point?
Yeah, it was all cool. It's just racing.
Okay.
Jamie?
Hey, Hunter, I want to go back to you. And Dan sort of touched on it with his question, but do you feel like this is the best you've ever been?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say. It's cool because I've had 2 healthy, you know, years of just compounding work, which has been cool because I haven't really had that, or it's been a long time since I've had that. So it's cool. This is my 3rd Supercross season, so it's pretty cool. You know, there was days where it felt like it was a lifetime away to have, you know, what they call it, you know, have the flow, have the mojo, all that stuff, you know. So it's pretty cool.
And Hayden, obviously, we know what happened in the heat race. And then even in the first turn of the main event, the first corner, pretty aggressive with Hunter. Like, you have zero intimidation with these guys that you're racing. As a young kid, rookie year, you're all in.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to be dirty on the start. I just sending it. So I just ripped that first turn. And, yeah, I didn't mean to push out too wide. It was just hitting the first turn hard. Hunter's doing good. I have no reason to mess with him at all. So he's definitely faster. So, yeah, I mean, I just pushed out a little wide. But besides that, it was good racing.
Yeah, I didn't mean anything dirty. I just meant that you have no intimidation.
Yeah, I mean, we're out here racing, and even though I'm the rookie, I still gotta, you know, try and stand my ground a little.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys.
David Iser.
Thanks, Dan. Hayden, back to you. You have no regrets on that aggressive racing in a heat race with no points available and knocking your teammate out of a championship battle?
Yeah, I think he's in like 5th in points. He's a little out of it, but besides that, I mean, it was good. I don't know. I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying attention.
Well, a lot of people were, and that's the thing is we're just kind of wondering if you say you don't remember that. It's a heat race. Were you present in that moment saying this doesn't matter for points and this is my teammate, or he was just another rider?
I mean, he's my teammate, but he's a veteran. He's been in the sport for a while, and I was just up there, battling. I want to win just as bad as everyone else, no matter if it's a heat race or a main. I want to win, so just trying to push that.
And can I touch on this for 1 second? I just wanted to point something out, which it amazes me. So much of the people on social media, where everyone puts their expertise in, say, oh, the racing back in the 90s, early 2000s, like where men were men. They always talk about how gnarly it was, and then anytime a block pass or something happens now, everyone cries about it. That's just kind of a bit interesting. It's either, pick one. You either want the gnarly block passes from 10 years ago, and then when you get it, everyone makes a big song and dance about it. So that's my perspective. I think it's a bit funny how that works.
I agree.
All right, my question was about teammates in a heat race when it comes to non-points paying and in a championship battle. That's kind of my reaction. If this was in a main event, going for the win, I don't think there'd be this kind of reaction. I guess the big reaction from fans was a surprise of teammates getting to that point, especially for a heat race.
Yeah.
Hunter, go ahead, Hunter. I
didn't know you were talking to me. Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. Take what you want. Everyone's easy to point the finger. We're out there making decisions at split millisecond. People have all month to pay their phone bill and they still can't do that on time. So we're making decisions at such a fast reaction, adrenaline. And everyone, not just saying it for me or Hayden or speak for all the guys. No one's perfect, and we're under a microscope out there. So the media is really quick to point the finger when someone makes a mistake.
All right, and Nate, a quick one for you. Winning that heat race, getting some momentum. Hunter obviously has the momentum going his way with leading every lap since Daytona. What's it going to take to get up there in the main to, other than a whole shot to run with this guy?
It's going to take a lot. He's riding really good right now. I feel like I'm riding good too. It's just a little bit here and there. He's just a little bit better in areas, and I have my spots too that I can. I'm a little bit better, but overall, I feel like we had a good night tonight, and I think it's going to take a better start to get up there, and I want to have a battle in the main event with him, and just good clean racing and see what it goes. But we got 4 races coming up, and I've done good there before, and let's hopefully we can take the championship to the last round. That's the goal as of now.
All right, thanks.
Brock Bridges.
Great racing tonight, guys. I can't avoid it. Hunter, the comparisons go a little further than just the starts and the wins. 27 main events made, 10 wins, both you and Jet. You have one more podium, but 22 top 5s for both of you, 25 top 10s for both of you. So pretty much everything's even. So just wanted to throw that in there. Good job. The question I have for you, Hunter, obviously you do have a pretty good point seed right now, but all season it's been blue all right behind you. How much do you respect those two teams that are right on your heels all weekend, and how do you kind of prepare for them mentally each week, whether it be Thrasher or Deegan or Smith or Martin or whoever it might be?
Maxie didn't have the best one tonight, so the Honda flag wasn't as strong tonight. But yeah, I mean, they got some good guys, so there's not really anything different to prepare during the week to race a different color manufacturer or anything. Just they're racers.
Dominating the Honda and Yamahas right now for sure. Hayden, another good podium too. Ty and your dad, obviously, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. So you're kind of in your expectations now for motocross would probably be top 5. Wouldn't you say? I mean, do you have any sort of, I don't want to say pressure, but are your expectations going up a little bit for the rest of this season and moving on after this series?
I mean, outdoors is what we grew up always racing. That's kind of, what we grew up, and then we turned pro and we raced Supercross. So we always grew up racing outdoors. So, I mean, there's no reason why I shouldn't go out there and do well. I feel confident that I can go out there and run with those guys. I mean, we just got to keep putting in work and trying to get a little faster day by day. And, outdoors is coming soon. So those guys are going fast, and all we got to do is just keep working and see where we end up.
Thank you, guys.
Ryan from Cycle News.
Thanks, Ryan with Cycle News. My question's for Nate Thrasher. Nate, you're now second in points, bad night for Max and for Jordan. How do you take that momentum into the break that you guys got coming up?
Yeah, I don't really look at the position mainly. We're kind of just clicking off race by race and just trying to do the best we can. We're obviously the goal is to win, so we didn't quite get that tonight, but it's gonna be I'm gonna have to ride a perfect race to win this year. Hunter's riding really good, and we got some tracks coming up. So yeah, I don't really look at the position per se like of where we're at. It's just the same amount of points we are. We lost points tonight from the points leader, so that's all I'm really looking at.
Darren, Moto Limited.
Hey, Hunter, congratulations on your win from all your Aussie fans. And I'd like to personally thank you for the word you had for the Urbacher family. I knew Braden personally, and I know the whole Australian motocross community and the Urbacher family really appreciate your kind words. As far as the racing's going, it looks like you sort of managed to start, be fairly cautious in the first corner there, and then just manage the race. And you look like you're really riding within yourself. Would you say that would be the case?
Yeah, for sure. The weeks are tough. Me and Jet go back and forth, and it's good. Iron sharpens iron, and it's cool. We haven't had to step out of my comfort zone too much, which is obviously good. But when I need to, I'm able to. So, I'm stoked on that, and just really happy with the bike and myself. It's like I said about just 2 years of compounding, just a lot of hard work, and it's showing. So, the Urbacher family. Yeah, it was tragic. It's unfortunate stuff like that when your young rider passes away. It kind of puts life into perspective on this sport. Takes up so much of our life, and it's like everything. But all the beef, anyone that doesn't like anyone or anything going on in the paddock at the time, it all kind of goes away. Everyone comes together for something like that. So, yeah, thoughts and regards to all the people that it was affected by.
Thanks, Hunter. Keep up the good work and doing it for the Aussies. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cool. Anybody else have follow-up questions? Jason?
Yeah, I'll go to Nate. Jason from Racer X. We used to talk about your weird Supercross record. You had bad results and then wins. This year, you've been pretty consistent across the board, even when you get bad starts. So even if you're not able to quite get the wins you want, do you still feel you've made some strides this year?
Yeah, definitely some strides. Even when I've had 2 bad results this year, that's kind of hindered the overall points. But even those were solid rides. Daytona didn't go the way we wanted. Ended up going down by myself later on in the main, which was stupid. I still could have had a good finish there. And then Arlington there was it was a tough, but yeah, I feel like building each year. Just kind of the first year didn't really have much besides those that week in Atlanta, and then last year I had some flashes and gave away some podiums, but able to get the win in Salt Lake. And this year, we're just compounding like Hunter said, and we're only 20 years old, so we got a long way to go, and we'll just keep getting better each year.
Not going to do it? No. Brock, Bridges, follow-up?
I did have one quick follow-up question. And ignore this if y'all didn't see the 450 main. I'm just curious if y'all saw what happened to Aaron Plessinger in the main, and if y'all noticed anything breaking down in the rut that he had trouble in. Like I said, if y'all didn't see it, then, ignore that question.
I saw the crash. It's tough. The track, it just breaks down. The track's brutal from there. It's a totally different racetrack that we race on. That rut was very shallow for us and barely there. So by the time the end of their main event comes, it's a gnarly rut. But, I can't really speak on what happened to him. It's unfortunate. Would have really liked to see AP get the win, and he's an awesome guy. So bummed on that, but he was riding great.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think everyone can say he's one of the coolest guys in the paddock, just super nice and stuff. So, yeah, bummer to see how it unfolded. But yeah, can't really comment, don't know what headspace he was in, don't know, was on the bike, so wasn't down there. Can't really say too much.
Right, make sure we have everybody covered here. Looks like we're all good. Don't see any hands up. All the way back. Grace put her hand up. Grace from Speed Sport.
Quick question just for Nate. Nate, Hunter kind of weighed in a little bit on the situation with Hayden and Jordan in the heat race. Did you have any comments about that? Do you kind of feel the same way Hunter does about the racing, or was there anything kind of you wanted to say?
Yeah, I don't have any comment.
Thank you.
Well, we'll end on that note. I want to say congratulations to, great job, Hunter Lawrence, Nate Thrasher, Hayden Deegan. Congratulations. Fantastic racing. Big round of applause for our 250 podium out here. And that'll do it for the press conference for Detroit Round 10. We'll see y'all in Seattle where we go west for the 250 West and another 450 Main.